Oui, Jean Pierre Bemba, Gombo.
Thank you, Mr. Bemba. The Chamber would like to ask you to confirm that you fully understand and speak French.
Tout à fait, oui. Le français, oui.
Yes. Now, Mr. Bemba, could you please the court about your conditions, detention conditions, and if they're satisfactory, and whether you have some complaints to raise with the Chamber?
Non, pas de plainte à présenter à ce sujet.
Jean Pierre Bemba is the founder and commander-in-chief of the Mouvement de Libération du Congo, the MLC. The MLC troops under Jean Pierre Bemba attacked hundreds of Central African Republic civilians. They committed mass rapes, torture, killing, and pillaging. Jean Pierre Bemba wanted to traumatize and to terrorize the population and to make them unwilling to support the rebels. And to do this, Your Honor, he chose rape as his main weapon. Rapes of women, men, and little children, rapes in public places, gang rapes, rapes of mothers in the presence of their children, and rapes of children as their parents were forced to watch. This is the case, Your Honors, that the prosecution will present this morning. This is the case about the criminal responsibility of Jean Pierre Bemba. This is the case that is before the court.
The commission of crimes was widespread and included Bangui, PK-12, PK-22, Damara, Bozembele, Sibut, Bosemtele, Bozum, and Mogumba, highlighted in orange on the screen. As the MLC troops withdrew in March 2003, they continued to commit crimes. They invaded civilians' homes, pillaging civilians' possessions. They raped and sodomized Central African Republic's women, men, and children, and killed their family members, if they resisted. After the MLC left the locations, the civilian population was left with nothing. No possessions, no community, and no dignity. Some were either impregnated by the soldiers who raped them or infected with the HIV virus. An example of the MLC's behavior is the attack in Bangui between 26th of October and the 31st December of 2002, which illustrates the flagrant behavior of Jean Pierre Bemba's troops towards the civilian population in the Central African Republic.
Je souhaite vous dire qui sont les 20 victimes que je représente aujourd'hui. Il s'agit de femmes, d'hommes et d'enfants qui ont vécu les événements qui se sont déroulés en République centrafricaine entre le 25 octobre 2002 et le 15 mars 2003. Certains d'entre eux ont eu leurs maisons pillées et détruites. Certains d'entre eux ont subi des violences physiques, sexuelles et ont été humiliés, portant encore aujourd'hui les traces de cette humiliation qui se traduit en autant de stigmatisation. D'autres ont eu la chance de ne pas voir leurs proches violés ou torturés, et par contre, inscrit de manière indélébile dans leur mémoire le meurtre de ceux qui leur étaient chers, notamment de membres de leur famille. Premièrement, le droit à la vérité semble être l'une de ses composantes. À cet égard, comme indiqué par la juge unique de la Chambre préliminaire 1 dans sa décision en matière de participation des victimes dans l'affaire Katanga Ngudjolo Chui, l'intérêt central des victimes dans la détermination des faits, l'identification des personnes responsables et la déclaration de responsabilité est à la racine du droit à la vérité largement établie au bénéfice des victimes de violations sérieuses des droits de l'homme. Je peux vous assurer, Madame la Présidente, Messieurs les juges, que le fait d'être représentés aujourd'hui et de pouvoir exprimer leur voix dans les procédures constitue en soi un élément de ce que l'on peut qualifier de réparation au sens général de ce terme, et concrètement participe à leur lutte quotidienne pour rétablir le cours de leur vie, ou plutôt la continuer, en devant tenir compte de ce qu'ils ont subi entre-temps et qui fait désormais partie de leur histoire.
Your Honour, our primary submission is that the prosecution's error, which infects the whole of its case, can be focused on two main limbs. They have completely failed, in our respectful submission, to grasp the issue of subordination. And the second issue is they have completely and utterly failed to show intent or knowledge. Your Honour, the prosecution's case, of course, is that the MLC went to assist President Pitesi. But, Your Honour, if one goes to the prosecution's own evidence, it is very clear that whatever troops were provided in support of various African Union and regional agreements to support a democratically elected government were under the command not of Mr. Bemba. They were in the command, under the command of the head of state of the Central African Republic. Now, Your Honours, this is the prosecution's own evidence. And they have apparently turned a blind eye to this very huge difficulty that stands as a hurdle between this proceeding and the case being committed for trial. To witness 26 makes it clear that uniforms, food, money were all provided to the MLC troops, not by the authorities in the Democratic Republic of Congo, not by Mr. Bemba, but they were supplied, they were provided by the head of state of the Central African Republic. Your Honours, in my respectful submission, the evidence consistently shows that in the same way that troops are subordinated to any international organization, these troops, consistent with various international agreements, were subordinated to the neighboring state of the Central African Republic.
Case is represented by the Deputy Prosecutor, Madame Bemba.
Crimes which he is alleged to have committed and of his rights under the Rome Statute at the time for counsel. In regard to the prosecutor, the Chamber would like to reiterate its solemn statements made and questions asked. The right of all public decisions and filings effective as of the date of their
albeit nascent practice of this court in other cases. Your Honour, those
later. Bemba soldiers asked witness 23 whether he wanted to live or die. He replied that he
respect them and as judges at most. I will finish and we shall adjourn.
Demonstrating that there are substantial grounds to believe that Jean Pierre Bemba committed
the prosecution put forward a case that was almost identical to that which the prosecution would have you adopt in this court. And Your Honours, let me just read an extract out. There the prosecution were establishing or seeking to point.
So both agree that we are respecting Mr. Bemba, and in this sense we appreciate the stipulation.
Par ces troupes seraient épargnés des poursuites.
Properly the parties in these proceedings, I would refer to the regulations